Have you heard the news?
What news?
A company is offering an unbeatable sales bonanza this Easter.
Wait, hold on, darling. What company can afford to offer the people such bonanza at this hard time? Could it be sing?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Sims Easter Sales Bonanza. Come 25th of March to April 4th, 2024. Sims Digital Centers will be offering special discounts on wide range of electronics, home appliances, and Sukam inverters and batteries. Visit the Sims Digital Centers. This is a once-in-a-year opportunity. Don't miss it. For inquiries, call 0700-030-7467 or visit www.simsng.com. Terms and conditions apply. Sims Digital Centers, for the right combination of quality and price.
From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, criminal activities spread through Taraba and Katsina states with abduction of children and students. 28 earlier abducted in Katsina regained freedom as another 9 students are freed in Delta. Home sweet home for residents of 30 communities sacked by bandits in Munya local government area of Niger State as they make their way back to resume their normal livelihood after 6 years. Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike says President Bola Tinubu approves 1.1 trillion naira budget for the year 2024, the highest in the history of the FCT. And 44-year-old Basiru Faye promises systemic change and greater sovereignty as he is sworn in as Senegal's 5th president and the youngest. It appears that the spate of kidnappings that is ravaging several parts of the country is far from being over. In the last few weeks, daredevil bandits have struck in different parts of the country, abducting mostly children and students. On March the 10th, the news of the abduction of pupils of students from Kuriga in Chikun local government jolted the country. Although the initial figure was put at over 200, the military announced that 137 students were rescued on March the 24th. On March the 31st, 2 abductions that looked similar took place. While 3 students were abducted from the University of Calabar, 9 students that were returning from Calabar ran into some gunmen suspected to be kidnappers in the Ughelli area of Delta State. While the 9 abducted in Delta have regained their freedom, there's no word yet on those abducted from the university campus. Just a day after, attention shifted to the northern part of the country, where 28 persons were abducted in Kasai in Katsina State, while 2 students of the Federal University Wukari were also abducted. In Zamfara State, gunmen killed a man before abducting his wife and their neighbor. Although the federal government says it's working to end the spate of kidnappings in the country, the frequency of attacks is causing anxiety in the minds of many Nigerians who are now confronted with tales of kidnapping almost on a daily basis. Well, indeed, there's been another kidnapping, and this time in Taraba State, where 2 students have been abducted by a gunman in the Federal University of Wukari, that's in the southern senatorial district of Taraba State. Now, according to eyewitness accounts, the gunmen stormed the school, shooting sporadically, injuring other students without any form of interference from the security agencies, despite the location of checkpoints few meters away from the scene of the incident.
This is the Federal University, Wukari, located along the ever-busy Wukari-Katsina-Ala Federal Highway, leading to Benue State in the north-central region of the country. According to the Vice-Chancellor, about 90% of the students and staff of this institution live outside the school premises. At about 10 p.m. on Monday, April the 1st, suspected kidnappers attacked one of the shops attached to the hostels accommodating these students outside the school premises. They abducted 2 students of the institution and reportedly escaped through this bush path without any interference from security operatives at checkpoints few meters away from the scene.
When I came here, I saw people gathering, like plenty of people with some this JAMB securities. Then in fact, they already locked the shop. Then they told them that this is what happened, this is what happened. They took my staff and they took one of the staff.
Some others who somehow resisted being kidnapped narrate their ordeal.
I just ran come out to go and sit down there. Small time, I couldn't say where my daughter. She just come and slept on my body, and they now started drawing her. I said, Jesus, this girl, she's not going. Jesus. They just draw her. They cannot draw her from me like this. They just turn like this and move straight to the other shop like this.
They were even dragging us that we should come out. It was just God that I even escaped. I don't know how come. In the presence of me even coming out, one even points gun on my head.
The management of Federal University Wukari has confirmed the kidnap incident. The head of Information and Protocol Unit of the institution says 9 suspected kidnappers were apprehended inside the bush by youths of the community shortly after the incident and handed over to the police for interrogation. The 2 students abducted are identified as Joshua Sardauna from Economics Department and Obianu Elizabeth of Microbiology Department.
Right now, I can tell you that the school management is on top of the situation. There have been security personnel have been stationed, and youths are out there trying to trace these people. So the university is still calling on federal government, state government, and spirited individuals to come and partner with the university in providing security, even by providing accommodation that will accommodate more people within the university that the university can keep watch on, or around that security outfits. If federal government may come around and say, okay, let me put up as many security posts here for the students.
The last kidnap incident here happened in 2022, leading to the shutdown of the institution to ease the tension among parents, staff and students of the institution.
To Katsina, where the state government has called on security agencies to be on red alert in case of any eventuality. Well, the advice is coming on the heels of the release of 28 children abducted by bandits at Kasai village in Batsari local government area of the state. In the meantime, the State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Dr. Nasiruddin Musa, in an interview with reporters in the state capital, says the level of frustration among the bandits is increasing because they have been substantially degraded over time. He therefore wants all concerned parties in the fight against banditry in the state to be on the same page.
One cannot sit down and look at this madness, so we decided to, train the hard-to-reach communities. Recently, we trained 70 communities on the way to fortify and defend their communities. And alhamdulillah, positive results are coming out that in most places that they visited, they are now being repelled, being dealt with by the local communities. So we are going to continue, we will not stop. We will end up this madness of these bandits, with miscreants to the society. We can't allow our society to be destroyed by these people.
Now, it wasn't only in Katsina that witnessed the freedom of kidnapped children. In Delta State, all the 9 students abducted while traveling in the Evreni axis of the East-West Road in Ughelli North local government area of the state have been released. This was made known to Channels Television by the Delta State Police spokesperson, Bright Edafe, but could not give details surrounding their release. The students were said to be returning in a minibus from their school in Calabar, Cross River State, on Friday night when they were abducted while the driver of the vehicle escaped unhurt. On getting the report, the police were said to have swung into action, combing the area to rescue the victims. And to Niger State and it's some cheery news as residents of about 30 communities in Munya local government area that had been sacked by bandits have started returning home. Our crew visited some of these communities located at the heart of Serikim Power Forest, which until recently were under the control of different bandit leaders, and now reports that the calm in these communities may not be unconnected with the sustained presence of security men in the general forest area.
Serikim Power Forest is considered a notorious place, a popular safe haven for bandits operating along the Niger-Kaduna corridor. On both sides of the road, our camera captures abandoned telecommunication masts, deserted communities, some of which the locals say were used as bandit hideouts and a hold for their kidnapped victims. The deserted state of these communities also negatively affected the socio-economic activities around adjoining towns that were not attacked by bandits.
It's really affecting us because sometimes when we...
Esther Boyi runs a commodity business in Manya local government. She's not been able to travel to restock like she used to, owing to security challenges. The story is not that different for Haruna Yusuf.
Sometimes we would like to go and look for our daily bread, but sometimes they are here, they have blocked this road, so we need to go back home. So that is how we just manage our lives. Sometimes we want to even sleep at home. They say they are here. We need to stand up and run away and look for where is more safer than where we are staying. So that is how we are just battling up and down.
Like people are coming from outside there. The bandits have already blocked them. No more coming. We are going to Mina before 3 times in a day. Now some our vehicle will go once in a day. 20 vehicles or 30. Before all of us are going 100 and something vehicles will go up to 2 times, 3 times. Now don't need that.
Naimatu Lawal is a mother of 7 and had just returned to her Mangoro village after several years of seeking refuge in an IDP camp. She's helping her husband, who is a volunteer for the local vigilante, rebuild their home.
It is because of the problem that we left our abode. And now my husband is ill, and I have 7 children. Now all the houses are demolished. We need help from the government. For what they've done, we are grateful.
Our house don't go down. Number one, government help us to build the house. Then number 2, we need water. Number 3, we need the school. Number 4, we'll not get hospital. We need the hospital.
The Deputy Governor of Niger State is touring the general forest area, interacting with security personnel stationed at different locations.
The bandits immediately they cross from Kaduna, Shiroro. This is their major routes that they cross to get to our people. But with the wisdom of Mr. Governor, he directed that special formation should be made here. And you can see a combined of specialized hunters, our local vigilante, DSS, and even the military. That has curtailed 60% of the inflow of the bandits into our communities.
The general ambience in these communities is that of resilience and hope that may not be unconnected to the sustained presence of security personnel stationed in the forest who have been taking the fight to the bandits.
Now to efforts meant to curb terrorism, and troops of 6th Brigade Nigerian Army have neutralized 5 violent extremists, foiled kidnapping attempts, and recovered a substantial cache of arms and ammunition in Taraba State. A statement by the Department of Army Public Relations says the troops, while acting on actionable intelligence on the plan of the extremists to kidnap some church members returning from a church program in Wukari along Totse and Takum Road, acted decisively by engaging them in a fierce gun battle, leading to the neutralization of 4 extremists and recovery of 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 pump-action rifle, and 2 AK-47 magazines. The statement adds that similarly, on March the 27th this year, troops while on patrol around Chanchanji ward of Takum local government area came in contact with suspected violent extremists and responded with superior firepower, leading to the neutralization of one extremist and recovery of one locally fabricated pistol, 2 rounds of 9mm ammunition, and one mobile phone belonging to the criminal. Still in efforts to curb the activities of terrorists in the north, troops of the Nigerian army in 2 separate operations conducted in Zamfara and Katsina states on Monday cleared road blockades mounted by the terrorists to kidnap passengers and neutralize the insurgents. A statement from the Department of Army Public Relations explains that in Zamfara, troops on a fighting patrol to curtail terrorist activities responded to a distress call on the blockade of the Anka-Bagega road mounted by terrorists to frustrate free movement of motorists and goods, as well as to serve as an entrapment to abduct civilians. But the vigilant troops rapidly mobilized to the scene, engaged the terrorists in combat, compelling them to abandon their mission. The statement also adds that in a separate operation in Katsina State, troops cleared several insurgents' camps within Yamamalai and Hamfudin general areas in Faskari local government area, eliminating one of the terrorists in the aftermath of a shootout. The troops recovered 1 locally fabricated gun, 2 motorcycles, 6 mobile phones, and other sundry items. In part 2 after the break, Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike says President Bola Tinubu approves 1.1 trillion naira budget for the 2024 fiscal year, one of the highest in the history of the FCT. Please stay with us.
The Duchess International Hospital caters to every aspect of the family's health needs. A one-stop shop for maternity and child health services, emergency medicine and critical care, medical and surgical subspecialties, dental and eye care, and a range of other subspecialties and services, all available at a single location right here in the heart of Ikeja. And it really doesn't matter if you're paying out of pocket using your HMO or private insurance. We focus completely on providing that world-class affordable healthcare for all the family at all times.
That you can now print all your essential items for events without even having to leave your home? It's the Cash Print Combo Deal for all events. Yes! Weddings, conferences, birthdays, burials, etc. Starting from 495,000 naira only. You get 50 invites, 50 A2 size posters, 50 16-page brochures, 1 large backdrop banner, 1 roll-up banner, 50 jotters with pens, and 50 souvenir carrier bags. Whatever event you're planning, we can adjust to your budget and quantities. Just send your pictures and other information through WhatsApp, and we shall send a design for your approval. Approve your design, and we will produce with super high-quality digital print technology. We can even arrange delivery to your location. Call us now on 0913-156-5016 or 0812-794-9323 or visit our social media pages. Cash Prints, digital printing at super speed.
After 6 years, Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike says President Bola Tinubu approves 1.1 trillion naira budget for 2024, the highest in the history of the FCT. And 44-year-old Basiru Faye promises systemic change and greater sovereignty as he is a reliable database for the sector and better coordination in order to reduce the number of out-of-school children in the country. Professor Mammon was speaking during the maiden quarterly Citizens and Stakeholders Engagement on Nigeria's education sector in Abuja, where he also appealed to security agencies to rescue kidnapped school students in Calabar and to ensure a school environment is safe for learning.
The Ministry of Education is holding its first Citizens and Stakeholders Engagement meeting in the bid to strengthen the nation's education sector and improve service delivery. Development partners, educationists, lawmakers and government officials have converged here to find ways to interact with citizens to address challenges facing the sector.
It will also promote mutual understanding with stakeholders and citizens, build and sustain public trust, and improve transparency and accountability in the sector.
Professor Tahir Maman begins with an affirmation of the government's commitment to resolve the hazard of out-of-school children with basic school and vocational training.
The younger ones who can still go back to school because they are still young, they brush them up and then they are returned back to school. And the older ones who cannot go back to school, they will be reskilled, they'll be given some skill and then empowered and proceed with their lives.
The minister makes a case for the sector's poor database while appealing to security agencies to rescue kidnapped students.
How many schools do we have in Nigeria? Where are they? How close are they to each other? What is the condition of those schools? What is the infrastructure in those schools? We need to know. Right across. Only 4 days ago, in Calabar, 3 students were whisked away, kidnapped. Very sad. We really hope and appeal the security agencies are able to track and bring back these kids.
The minister says efforts are on to heal the relationship with SANU and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities and Allied Institutions, NASU, to make academics seamless.
We engage them. We have secured their understanding that the government is attending to their needs.
The Ministry of Education says the Citizens Engagement meeting will hold intermittently to strengthen education in Nigeria.
Still on education, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has uncovered at least 1,665 fake A-level results during the 2023 direct entry registration. A JAMB registrar, Professor Ishak Oloyede, disclosed this when he received the leadership of the National Association of Nigeria Colleges of Education students in his office. According to Professor Oloyede, out of this figure, 397 were from colleges of education, 453 were university diplomas, and the rest were other A-level certificates. Now, the registrar recalled that in the past, when a candidate applied for direct entry, the board will simply ask awarding institutions to do the necessary screening and due diligence. He, however, said that JAMB was dumbfounded by the startling revelations from Bayero University, Kano, where out of the 148 direct entry applications to the institution, only 6 of the certificates forwarded for processing were genuine. Well, the registrar adds that it was the discovery of this monumental fraud that prompted the meeting of critical stakeholders who met to chart ways of combating the menace. The FCT Minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, says he is happy with the presidential assent to the Federal Capital Territory's over 1.1 trillion naira statutory budget for the 2024 fiscal year, the highest in the history of the FCT. Now, he made a disclosure during a media chat at his office in Abuja, where he explains that the budget will impact on infrastructural development, improve healthcare facilities, as well as rehabilitation of schools in the Federal Capital Territory, amongst others. Our correspondent, Kumbi Abuluwade, reports that he also responded to an allegation of a wrongful demolition of one Mr. Nicholas Ukachukwu's estate in Asokoro.
In the Federal Capital Territory's minister's habitual way, he sits with the media for a chat to dissect matters pertaining to the FCT.
Not only road networks.
Mr. Wike begins with a disclosure of the highest budget the FCT has had since inception, over 1.1 trillion naira statutory budget for the 2024 fiscal year.
The budget was just assented to yesterday by Mr. President. But frankly speaking, it is going to revolutionize infrastructure as far as the FCT is concerned. Not only road networks, also in health, in education.
Mr. Wike also responded to an allegation of the wrongful demolition of one Mr. Nicholas Ukachukwu's estate in Asokoro.
This so-called ethnic jingoist talk about was allocated when there was no minister. I mean, I've never seen people who are so fraudulent in life. What they do here, they sue you, The suit as FCT Minister, I'm not aware of the suit.
So there was no court injunction?
I have told you who served me. Some of these allocations are illegal. We're not afraid of court.
Honourable Minister, what is the current position now with that 214 hectares?
No, there's no way they can go in there. It's not their land.
FCT is taking it over.
It is our property.
The minister also laid out new rules for acquiring land in the FCT.
Even if you come to ask for land, I will ask you, show me your financial capacity. 2, give me the duration within which to develop the place. If that duration expires, FCT is entitled to take back their property.
Delving into River State politics, Mr. Wike challenged the River State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, to publish the debt profile left behind by his administration.
If you are supporting Fubara, as you claim, what's the support? He's having a problem with the legislature. What is the problem? They cannot have a good relationship with just assembly members. And you every time say Wike. And I challenge him to publish the debt in bank. I left.
You challenged the governor?
I challenge him. There's no preaching anybody can preach to me now. It will be a sellout to my people, to my political team. Because what we saw was somebody who broke Guinness Book of Record.
The minister also called out the former PDP chairman, Mr. Uche Secondus, asking him to desist from meddling in the PDP's affairs because he's not a party member, following a court judgment that affirmed his suspension. From the nation's capital, Kumbi Aboluade, Channels Television News.
It's now time to head to the nation's capital, and Markwe Ogun Yusuf is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studio. Hello, Markwe. Over to you.
Hello, Ayo. It's good to see you again. Well, we're talking unity here. The President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, is urging Nigerians to unite in the spirit of the Ramadan season in order to overcome the challenges bedeviling the country. While breaking fast with Muslim faithful in Abuja, Senator Akpabio said collaboration between Nigerians, irrespective of religious affiliation, will ensure the prosperity and security of Nigeria as a country.
In the spirit of Ramadan, the President of the Senate is hosting Muslim faithful to Iftar, which is the breaking of fast. The President of the Senate, who invited Christian legislators, used the occasion to appeal to Nigerians to unite in order to combat the challenges being experienced in the country.
Coming together, distinguished Deputy Senate President, is all that we need. We need to continue to work together as brothers and sisters of the same God, the Almighty God, for the benefit of our dear country. There is nothing, religion cannot divide us. No matter the turmoil, no matter the political disagreements in some instances, even families do disagree. But we must bear one thing in mind, that we are serving humanity. And we are serving humanity through Almighty God.
The Deputy President of the Senate and former Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Intelligence and Internal Security are optimistic that the collaboration between Nigerians and the legislators will greatly better the lot of everyone.
May the Almighty Allah continue to be our guide, continue to support us as we work with the executive arm of government to face the challenges we have in trying to surmount them. And by grace of God, we are going to change our challenges to prosperity. And that within a very short time, by grace of God, this country will become a land of prosperity. In fact, a land of El Dorado, by grace of God.
Ours is for us, for the people, at least to come together to support the military. There are some other paramilitary agencies to support them in one way or the other, because most of the issues, in fighting an issue like that, because it is putting together the conventional security problem and non-conventional security problem. All the two, they need the community support.
As Ramadan progresses, lawmakers are optimistic that Nigerians will come together to address the country's security and economic challenges, aiming for a brighter future.
In nearby Kogi State, some youths are asking those they describe as desperate politicians not to continue to drag the name of the state in the mud. The youths from the 3 senatorial districts of the state under the aegis of Kogi Independent Youth Association particularly cautioned the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to be wary of politicians who they say mean no good for the state, but are out to use the commission to achieve selfish objectives detrimental to the well-being and unity the state has enjoyed in the past. Mohammed Abdurazak, who spoke on behalf of the youths in Abuja, says they will not allow embittered politicians to turn Kogi State into an ethnic enclave of crisis and would employ every legal means to protect the integrity of the state.
We are here to caution the EFCC and to advise that they must be wary of those individuals whose intentions are not noble and who are out there to use the commission as a front for their to fight their political battles. There are some desperate Kogi State politicians who are hell-bent on using the EFCC to fight or achieve their selfish political interests. Yes. And we, as youth of Kogi State, we must not keep quiet to this, because an injury to one is an injury to all. We must not keep quiet on this. For a man who have done well for Kogi State, we know and they know that Governor Akeredolu, the immediate past governor of Kogi State, has done well in the area of infrastructure. We know and they know that the former governor of Kogi State, Akeredolu, has done well in the area of youth empowerment and youth inclusion and women inclusion in politics as far as Kogi State is concerned. We know and they know that Governor Akeredolu has done well in the area of education, also lifting the face of our education institution in Kogi State.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Dangote Refinery commences sale of automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel, to oil marketers nationwide. That's some business news. Do join us again.
Stay connected to the world with Channels TV Podcast and get all the trending stories. Simply log on to channelstv.com. Click on podcast, select the program of your choice, and listen. Our podcast is available on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Tap the expertise you trust. Touch the stories that touch you. Anytime, anywhere.
Raised by fire. Goods, especially foodstuff, charcoal, and used clothing, estimated to be worth millions of naira, were lost to the inferno. It was gathered that about 46 stores were affected. The traders commended the fire service for putting out the fire on time, but are seeking government assistance to provide them with some palliative before rebuilding the stores. In the meantime, the Olofa of Ofa has commiserated with the traders, while the senator representing Kwara South is expressing optimism that the governor will intervene to alleviate the sufferings of those who have incurred losses.
Only God knows the cause, because it's combined of people selling charcoal, rice, and other commodities. So we cannot really say this is the reason, but God knows what we don't know. What we only do is how to give them succor so that we reduce their problem. And like we have a very nice governor who cares for all parts of the state. He has sent his delegation that they should come and check the extent of the damage so that he will know what to do, which is a very good decision. So it gives me joy for our governor to quickly intervene like that, to tell us that he has sent his delegate to estimate whatever happened and it will come to our help.
The inferno was so much, it consumed a lot of wealth, especially wealth from those people who are not as opportune in resources as possible. But we must thank God that whatever happened, no life was lost. That's the most important thing. And when no life was lost, when no life is lost, we have opportunity to research. We are very thankful that the state government government of Abdulrahman Abrazak is a very sympathetic and pathetic government. The government will come to the aid of those people who are dispossessed of their wealth. With the concerted effort of local government, the state government, and some of us that in Abuja that can attract constituency projects in this area, we try as much as possible to make sure that some of this infrastructure deficit, including access roads, are done.
Staying with disaster management, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has reiterated its commitment to mitigating suffering and bolstering community resilience. This includes efforts such as enhancing early warning systems, conducting awareness campaigns, developing policies, engaging stakeholders, and pre-positioning relief supplies. These points were highlighted by Mr. Zubaida Umar, the Director General of NEMA, during a visit from the head of the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, the UNOCHA, in Nigeria. Mr. Umar emphasized the urgent need for increased collaboration and mutual support, especially with the UNOCHA, to strengthen disaster response efforts throughout the country.
It is on record that the collaboration between NEMA and UN OCHA has been instrumental in enabling us to enhance our response capabilities and reach out to more people in need. Together, we have been able to coordinate resources, share expertise, and mobilize support to address complex disaster challenges with significant humanitarian outcomes. The importance of our partnership cannot be overstated. In this regard, I'm confident that today's visit will enable us to strengthen our existing partnerships and explore new areas of mutual support and collaboration. With the rainy season fast approaching, NEMA is putting in place modalities to mitigate impacts of flooding across the nation through the development of early warning alerts in line with the seasonal climate prediction recently released by the Niger Meteorological Agency, NIMET, and public sensitization on precautionary measures to avert the impacts of floods and associated hazards.
And that's all from our Abuja studios. It's back now to you, Ayo.
Many thanks, Markwe. Niger's tourism potential remains untapped, and that's why the Minister of Tourism, Mrs. Lola Adejon, is calling for local and community-based tourism approach to engage and involve the people in the tourism sector. According to her, the federal government is prepared to do anything to help support tourism programs at local and community level, as every individual is seen as a stakeholder in the industry. The minister was speaking during the visit to the Kogi Warm Spring Resort in the Ekiti State, where she commended the level of development taking place at the resort.
Tourism, as you know, it is basically divided into two: inbound tourism and local community-based tourism. Okay. And we're initially focusing on locally community-based tourism more because of the ability to create jobs. Okay. It's the revenue, but it's not as important as, creating jobs, and also to make Nigerians aware of what opportunities are available to them, rather than go abroad and enjoy Nigeria itself. In terms of sustainability, we would like to work with the communities to clean up the environment. I was amazed when I got here, right from Akeredolu, the greenery, the lushness, the splendor and the beauty of the environment is just, it's a sight to behold. In the Kogi itself, I was actually amazed that this project is really just 5% done, and it has taken them about less than 2 years to get it up to the standard that it's in. Yeah, it's for me, I think it's world-class standard.
The Deputy Commissioner of Police attached to the Force Criminal Intelligence and Investigations Department, Balan Olugbemi, has allegedly committed suicide in Ogbomoso of Oyo State. Now, the body of the DCP, who once served as an aide to former Governor Adebayo Alao-Akala of Oyo State, was reportedly discovered in his apartment with a noose around his neck hanging. Although full investigation is yet to be carried out to ascertain the cause of his death, his residence has been cordoned off by the police. Mr. Olugbemi was said to have come home for the Easter celebration before the tragic incident occurred. It's now time for some business news with Laddie Williams.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thanks, Ayo. Well, let's start with the energy market, where Dangote Petroleum Refinery has commenced the sale of automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel, to local oil marketers nationwide. Mr. Davakuma Edwin, Dangote Group executive, confirmed products are being evacuated by sea and road as local oil marketers agreed to pay 1,225 naira for the product, according to the bulk purchase agreement. It can be recalled on January 12, 2024, that Dangote Refinery announced that it had commenced the production of automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel, and aviation fuel. Meanwhile, reactions are trailing the Nigerian midstream and downstream petroleum regulatory authority's new price of natural gas for power generation companies, which is now pegged at $2.42 per MMBTU. According to Mr. Sunday Oduton, spokesperson for the DISCOs, this minimum price could risk higher electricity tariffs. He made the comment on Business Morning earlier today.
When you're talking about cost of production of any product, the moment any of your raw materials, the moment the cost of it go up, it will increase your cost of production, and that may increase the price of the product. In the case of Nigerian electricity supply industry, we produce electricity in Nigeria through two major areas, which is the use of gas and water. Gas is a very essential raw material. And because of that, the cost of gas, of course, has an impact on the cost of electricity, because this is part of what I call the raw materials, the essential raw material that is required to produce electricity.
All right, let's get a check on some audited earnings now. We'll see financial reports for the full year 2023. I'll begin with Burger Paint, where the company posted 125% profit growth as a pre-tax profit hit 799.8 million naira in 2023, up from 355.6 million in 2022. According to the company's audited financial statement for 2023, its revenue hit 7.91 billion naira, marking a 25% growth from the 6.33 billion naira posted in 2022. Let's take it on to Transcorp Hotel now, where the company reported a profit before tax of 9.41 billion naira for the year ended 31st of December 2023. Transcorp Hotels reported revenue of 42.7 billion, 35.81% increase from the 31.442 billion reported in the prior year. And to the FX market, we see the Naira has kicked off the second quarter strong, strengthening against the dollar to close at 1,278 Naira today, marking the first trading day of the official NAFEX market for the weekend quarter. According to the data from the FMDQ, the intraday high was quoted at 1,312 Naira to the dollar, while the intraday low settled at 1,250 Naira to the dollar. The average daily turnover reported was $111.8 million, down from the record $857 million recorded in the last official trading day in March. Meanwhile, the exchange rate on the parallel market was even stronger at around 1,250 Naira to the dollar, according to some BDC operators. And now to the domestic stock market, where the first trading day of the second quarter of 2024 kicks off in the red, although marginal. Willie Bonks tells us more.
Thanks, Laddie.
and welcome to the first trading day in the month of April. We've got today's highlights from the stock market. Traders and investors returned from the Easter holiday with positive sentiment at the start of trade, and it went downhill from there, and we all know how that ended. Yes, you've got it in the red. The all-share index recorded a 0.04% loss, and you know the stocks behind this pullback. We've got UAC Nigeria, Nigerian Breweries, and FBN Holdings to thank for this. Or should I say, no thanks? And obviously, these losses would weigh down their respective sectors. Banking and consumer goods ended up in the red. Now, the insurance sector was the outlier and the only gainer, and it was supported by gains in Guinea Assurance, ICO Insurance, Coronation, and Sunu Assurances. Analysts say the month of April is usually bullish. But is it too early for this positive trend? We'll watch and see. And that's the stock market report. Will Ibang signing out.
Thanks. Well, let's take a look at some international stocks now. Tesla shares fell today after the company reported a drop in vehicle deliveries in the first quarter, the first annual decline since 2020, when the global pandemic had disrupted production. Here are the key numbers now. Total deliveries for the first quarter of 2024 was at 386,810, while total production for the first quarter of 2024, that's 433,371. And we see that was a big drop from the first quarter reported in the prior year. Now let's get a snapshot of closing numbers for...
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Many thanks, Ladi. Bassirou Diomaye Faye has been sworn in as Senegal's 5th president after sweeping to a first-round victory on a pledge of radical reform 10 days after he was released from prison. The 44-year-old has never before held an elected office, but several African leaders attended the ceremony in the new town of Diamniadio near the capital, Dakar. Mr. Faye swore to faithfully fulfill the office of President of the Republic of Senegal and also vowed to scrupulously observe the provisions of the Constitution and the laws and to defend the integrity of the territory and national independence and to spare no effort to achieve African unity. President Bola Tinubu was among the honored guests at the inauguration ceremony. President Tinubu, who is the chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, witnessed the colorful ceremony with other African presidents and foreign guests. He was also among those who were invited to congratulate the newly sworn-in president immediately after the swearing-in ceremony. President Bola Tinubu has since returned to Abuja, the nation's capital. 7 people working for food aid charity World Central Kitchen have been killed in an Israeli strike in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the convoy they were in was hit unintentionally. Well, aid agencies say they are concerned the incident will prevent critical aid getting to those who need it. Here's Simon Pusey with other international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. International food charity World Central Kitchen is suspending its operations in Gaza following the death of 7 of its workers in an Israeli airstrike. The charity said those killed were part of an aid convoy that was leaving a warehouse in central Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has acknowledged that Israel's forces hit innocent people. WCK is one of the main suppliers of desperately needed aid to Gaza. It said that it would be making decisions about the future of its work soon. According to the charity, the aid convoy was hit while leaving the Deir al-Bala warehouse, where the team had unloaded more than 100 tons of humanitarian food aid brought to Gaza on the maritime route. Iran has vowed to respond to what it said was an Israeli airstrike that destroyed an Iranian consulate building in Syria's capital, Damascus. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said Israel would regret this crime, while President Ebrahim Raisi insisted that it would not go unanswered. Iranian state TV reported that 7 Revolutionary Guards, including 2 generals and 6 Syrians, were killed. The Israeli parliament has approved a law giving the government the power to ban broadcasts of TV channels, including Al Jazeera, the Qatari-owned network.
Israel's parliament has passed a law which could allow...
The Knesset, Israel's parliament, approved the bill allowing foreign networks considered a threat to national security to be temporarily banned.
Yes, absolutely.
The US expressed concern over the move. With foreign journalists banned from entering Gaza, Al Jazeera staff based in the Strip have been some of the only reporters able to cover the war on the ground.
We support the independent free press anywhere in the world, and we think the work that the independent free press does is important everywhere in the world. And much of what we know about what has happened in Gaza is because of reporters who are there doing their jobs, including reporters from Al Jazeera. I'll say, just with respect to Al Jazeera, obviously, I think it's well known that we've not always agreed with all of Al Jazeera's coverage, but it's a media organization that we engage with. I've done interviews with Al Jazeera. Other people from the department have done interviews with Al Jazeera. So what we will continue to make clear is that we support the work that the Free Press does.
Footage appears to show the moment a Ukrainian drone hit a building in Russia's Tatarstan region. It happened in the town of Yelabuga, more than 1,300 kilometers from the Ukraine-Russia border. The attack is the deepest into Russian territory since the start of the war. According to media reports, at least 12 people, all of them students, were injured. The former US President Donald Trump has posted a $175 million bond in his New York civil fraud case. Mr. Trump was originally ordered to pay the full $464 million judgment against him, but an appeals court said he could pay the smaller sum within 10 days. He was found in February to have fraudulently inflated property values. The Republican denies wrongdoing and says the case is a political witch hunt by the Democratic prosecutor. 3 people have been injured after a woman who was being detained stole a gun from a guard and opened fire outside a Chilean market. A guard and a cameraman were among the wounded. The cameraman was taken to hospital with serious injuries where he was in a stable condition, according to a national newspaper. The incident, which took place at Lo Valador Market in Santiago, was captured on a live stream. And rescue crews in California have transported a horse to safety after it was stuck overnight in the Santa Ana River in a rural area east of Los Angeles. The owners say the horse was riding next to the river when it became spooked and ran off. The lost animal was later located with the help of social media and airlifted by the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thanks, Simon. In the world of sports, Remo Stars forced host Gombe United to a goalless draw in match day 28 of the Nigeria Premier Football League played earlier this evening at the Pantami Township Stadium. Well, the result leaves the Kenya-based team third on the table, pending the outcome of other games scheduled for tomorrow, Wednesday. Meanwhile, Gombe United are still rooted at the relegation zone, having recorded 7 wins from 28 matches. Away from Nigeria, we turn attention now to the English Premier League, where some games have just been concluded a moment ago. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, of course, got a late penalty in that encounter, forcing a 1-0 draw there for Everton against Newcastle United. Nottingham Forest also in the relegation zone, having a 3-1 win against Fulham. Crystal Palace losing 1-0 to Bournemouth. Burnley 1-0 draw with Wolves, and West Ham United 1-0 draw as well with Tottenham Hotspur. Away from football, the Court of Arbitration for Sport has thrown out an appeal from the International Boxing Association after it was stripped off of its rights to organize boxing events at the Paris Olympics. The International Olympic Committee withdrew its recognition of the boxing governing body last year due to long-standing concerns over governance issues. Well, in its ruling, the CAS panel explains that the organization has not increased its financial transparency and sustainability rules. Paris Olympic Games draw near. Security forces in France simulate the response to an attack on a conference center in Orleans, central France, where assailants shoot indiscriminately at civilians. But the drill comes with Europe on high alert after an attack on a Moscow concert hall on March 22nd, claimed by Islamic extremists, which left over 140 dead. And of course, we are counting down to the Paris Olympics this year, somewhat time around June. That's Sports News Tonight. I'm Kelly. It's back to Ayotunde.
Many thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. 28 children earlier abducted by bandits in Katsina State have regained their freedom, as another 9 students are freed in Delta. Meanwhile, gunmen have abducted 2 students of the Federal University Wukari in Taraba State. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, announced that President Bola Tinubu has approved 1.1 trillion.